am finally heading to Walt Disney World at the end of this month, and I already have like a full cart full of ears that I've made packed to take down for my mom and myself to wear, but I thought, you know, one more pair of ears couldn't hurt. Sometimes I just kind of get like struck with DIY ideas and then I just have to like make them immediately, and that idea was for making Walt Disney World park map ears. So you can definitely make fully no-sew ears using actual physical park maps. However, I don't really have any current Walt Disney World park maps on hand, but what I do always have on hand is printable fabric. So that meant all I had to do was find current park maps of all the 4 Walt Disney World parks online and then print them out onto fabric and then make them into ears as normal. So we have a Magic Kingdom ear, we have EPCOT, and then on the back we have Hollywood Studios and Animal Kingdom. Now, the actual nice thing about making the ears this way instead of with actual maps is that you can scale the map exactly how you'd want it. So I try to maximize the amount of the park itself that I could show on each ear, but you can fully customize this. You could have a singular set of just Magic Kingdom ears and kind of zoom in on a different land. You could easily make your own pair of Disneyland park map ears. So this tutorial is going to show you the basic steps needed to make these ears yourself. In the video description box below, I'm going to include a link to a Google document, and that's going to have the printouts exactly that I used for these ears, and then there'll also be kind of like full-scale images of each of the park maps themselves in case you want to crop them and scale them, or if you want a little bit more printed wiggle room in making your ears. You can also very easily adapt these to using a no-sew ear technique. Obviously, you'll just need to kind of add on trim, but once we make our custom fabric ourselves, then you just kind of go ahead as you would with any other pair of ears. So let's get on into the DIY. First, I found PDFs of each of the 4 park maps online. I downloaded these and then converted them into images. Then I brought those images into Microsoft Word and I cropped each so that it's 12.5 by 12.5 centimeters. And I made it so the top image is flipped upside down so that when I print it, one side will be the front of the ear and one side will be the back of the ear. And this will be linked in the description if you'd like to download it yourself as well. This will also have the full-size images uncropped in it too. Then you're going to need some Crafters Images photo fabric. This is fabric that you can print on using a regular inkjet printer. I have the roll of fabric, but they also come in sheets. So since I have a fabric roll, I'm just going to cut to the size of a regular sheet of paper. And then I just go ahead and print out my images onto the photo fabric. When the pages are done printing, you'll want to let them sit and dry for about 15 minutes. After that time, you can peel off the paper backing of the fabric. Next, you want to wash your fabric in the sink for about 30 seconds. Then you can set it on a towel to dry and blot out extra moisture. When dried, you'll want to get out your iron and just make sure the fabric is smooth and doesn't have any wrinkles. I will also kind of use this step to speed up the drying process of my fabric so that the iron can dry it. Next, we're going to use fusible interfacing and iron this on to the back of each piece of fabric. Cut out the interfacing to size and then place it bumpy side down onto your fabric. Since the Crafters Image fabric is so thin and sheer, this really helps to give it an extra layer of strength and stability. The fabric on the sides is definitely a bit bigger than I need it to be, so I'm just going to trim that down. Now what I'm going to do is fold my piece of fabric in half and exactly match up each corner of the image. This seam will get pressed down so that it'll be super easy when we go to sew our pair of ears. And again, I just use my iron to press this down. So now we know our fabric is perfectly evenly lined up when we go to draw on our template and sew it. Then I bring out my 11 centimeter diameter circle template. I place it so that it is directly centered and I have a little bit of margin on each side, and then I trace that out. Then I have my 10 centimeter diameter circle with an arc at the bottom so I can mark where to start and stop sewing. And I'll also have these templates linked in the description. Then we can go ahead to our sewing machine and just sew along the line, leaving open the area between where we've marked. And then I'm just checking on the back to make sure I don't have any of my sew marks outside of where the printed fabric is. Then we're just gonna cut out our fabric, and we always wanna make sure we leave quite a bit of excess at the base. Then we're going to turn our ears right sides out, and I always use a stuffing tool to help make this part a little bit easier. Then we're going back to our iron and we're going to press down the seams of the ears here. This will help give the ears a really nice finished full circular look. Then I use about 6 millimeter thick craft foam to cut out a center for my ears. And I cut this out using my 10 centimeter diameter circle. Then we can taco fold these foam pieces and put them inside of our ears. Now this foam I'm using is foam you can buy individually by the piece at craft stores, but I traditionally use a long roll of household firm foam from Joann's. Once that's done, we can go ahead and add Fiberfill stuffing to our ears. With our ears nicely stuffed, it's time to sew the bases closed. So what I do is I just tuck the fabric down inside, and then I do a whip stitch all along the base. With the second ear done, now we're ready to move on to getting our headband together. I finally was able to invest in a Cricut, so I'm actually using my Cricut to cut out my headband fabric. All I did was I digitized my headband pattern, and you can see we have a cat here, and I'm cutting out enough so that it fills out the whole piece of fabric, and I'll use these for other ears. I show in other DIY videos how to easily make your own headband template, since you need to make one customized to your own set of ears, since each headband has a slightly different taper. Then with this, all we have to do is peel back the excess fabric, and then we have the nicely Cricut cut headband. Then I'm going to take this piece of fabric and, as I've shown in many of my other videos, glue this onto my 1-inch plastic headband, and I've added some braid trim on the inside. Then, as always, I have marked the center of the headband and 4 centimeters down on each side, and that shows us where to sew the ears onto. Then we go and sew the ears onto the headband, starting to thread through the very corner of the ear, and then sewing through the headband right above where we marked. Then we just make sure that's pulled nice and taut, and then it's just a rotation of a ladder stitch, stitching in the ear and then stitching in the headband. This is extra stretchy headband fabric, which kind of was both easy and difficult to work out with. But if you have a stretchy or even thicker fabric, it'll make the transition between the headband and the ear even more seamless. So then you just sew all the way around the ear twice. So I've now made it around the ear twice, and then I'm just tying off my thread and then hiding it and cutting the excess off. And then this is how it looks like with both ears sewn onto the headband. So then the big dilemma for this was choosing what bow fabric to use. I had a lot of options, none that I totally loved, but I ended up going for just a gold metallic fabric. Now I've cut out a piece of fabric slightly smaller than what I normally use. This is 26 by 19 centimeters, and then that gets folded in half and glued together. I wanted it to be smaller so that you could see more of the ears themselves, and then I have a small piece cut to use as the bow center. This is what it looks like with the bow finally finished. You can see my other DIY videos for the full process on how to do this, but I think these ears came out looking so spectacular. So I hope you enjoyed this simple little DIY video. Truly, printable fabric is one of my favorite ways to make DIY ears because you can customize them so completely. I know I already have so many of my ears packed for Disney World, but these are definitely gonna have to fit their way into the rotation one of the days. Also, regardless of whatever park you're at, you can just like easily pop your ears off and check to make sure if you're going in the right direction. You got all the map directions right on your head. Also, I know I haven't been able to post many videos lately, but I did just hit 20,000 subscribers, and so I wanted to say a huge thank you to everybody who has subscribed to my channel and who has stayed and watched my videos all throughout the years. If you're new and missed any updates, I finally finished and completed my PhD in geology last summer, so I am very much enjoying not being a student and having a full-time job with a salary that is not as low as a grad student's. But I'm still going to try and make as many videos as I can on my channel of things that still interest me in terms of Disney. Now, in terms of my upcoming trip to Disney World, I am not a vlogger. I don't have the constitution of a vlogger. Also, I only have my phone as a camera, which does really bad audio when you don't have a mic. So I doubt there will be like full vlog style videos there. Also, I'm going with like literally my entire family. It is a huge trip. We haven't been in over a decade. So I'm sure I'll grab like some sort of clips or try and film something, but mainly it'll be about enjoying the parks. What I will have coming up soon, sometime before this countdown runs out, is a whole Disney World packing video. I did a semi-premature one of all the stuff I had ready to pack because we were going in February, but then we decided to move back our trip. And thankfully now things definitely seem to be safer. A lot more is actually open in the parks. So I have a lot of outfits, or kind of like mainly tops planned. A number of them that I've made myself. I have all my bags, my ears, I have kind of like the full outline of everything set. So I will have that coming up within the next few weeks. But thank you again so much for 20,000 subscribers, and thanks for watching.